Let me ask you something before you ever set foot on a lot. When a salesman tells you an SUV is a smart buy, has he ever once mentioned what it'll be worth the day you go to sell it? He hasn't, because for the 10 SUVs on this list, that number would end the conversation. The average new SUV loses a big chunk of its value in the first 3 years. That's normal, everybody knows it, but these 10 don't lose a chunk. They bleed. Some shed close to half of what you paid before the third birthday, and a few of them blow right past half into territory that would make you sick. The dealer knows the resale curve to the dollar. The auction data sits on his screen. He just isn't going to be the one to show it to you. Here's the reframe that ought to make you sit up. Every one of these is an expensive, complicated, or electric machine, and the paid-off SUV sitting in your driveway right now, the simple one they told you was outdated, is quietly winning the only contest that matters, the one where your money stays yours. Number 1 on this list is a household name. It's on the thumbnail, and it just got discontinued, which turned a bad resale story into a free fall. 10 SUVs, what they cost, what they're worth 3 years later, and how to make sure you're never the one holding the bag. Number 10. Cadillac Lyriq. Cadillac's electric flagship was supposed to prove the brand could go toe-to-toe with the luxury EV world. Instead, it walked straight into the same buzzsaw every new electric luxury SUV meets, a used market that simply won't pay for last year's technology. The numbers behind this class are brutal. Electric vehicles as a whole lose value faster than any other kind of vehicle on the road, running well over 10 points worse than the industry average, and the luxury electric ones stack a second penalty on top of the first. A Lyriq that stickered in the 60s is closing in on half its value gone by year 3, and the reason isn't anything the owner did. It's that the manufacturer kept cutting the price of the new ones, and every cut drags every used one down with it. There's a second knife in the back that owners never see coming. General Motors keeps reshuffling its entire electric lineup. Trims added, models delayed, whole strategies reversed from one year to the next. Every one of those announcements tells a used buyer the thing in your driveway is already yesterday's plan, and they bid accordingly. That's the part that stings. You didn't buy a bad car. You bought into a moving target, and the manufacturer moved it out from under you. Here's the move, and it's the same move for most of this list. Let the first owner eat that drop. A 3-year-old version of this exact SUV, barely used, comes to you with the worst of the bleeding already done by somebody else's wallet. New. It's a luxury tax you pay every single month. Used at 3 years, it's one of the best values on the lot. The bleeding starts in the luxury EV aisle. It gets worse from here. Number 9. Ford Mustang Mach-E. Ford put a legendary name on an electric crossover, and the name didn't save the resale. The Mach-E is the mainstream face of this problem. Not a $100,000 exotic, just a regular family EV that a lot of ordinary people bought in good faith. Set it next to a gas-powered Ford SUV of the same age and watch the split. The gas model gives back a manageable slice of its value over 3 years. The Mach-E gives back close to half, landing in the low 40s as a percentage. And that gap is thousands of dollars that evaporated for no reason you can see in the driveway. The hidden truth is the used EV trap that nobody explains at signing. Federal credits on used electric vehicles under a certain price actually push the used values down further because the next buyer gets a discount straight off the top, and that discount comes out of what your car is worth. Walk through how that works, because it's backwards from everything you'd expect. On an electric vehicle priced under $25,000, a dealer can knock as much as $4,000 off through that used credit. Sounds like a gift to the buyer, and it is. But it means every private seller now has to price under that dealer, so the $4,000 comes straight out of your pocket, not the government's. A subsidy meant to help ends up shoving your resale value down another notch. If you already own one, this isn't your fault, and there's nothing to fix. You drive it and you keep it, because trading out now just locks in the loss. If you're shopping, buy it used and let the credit work for you instead of against you. Same blue oval, same road. One version holds, the electric one melts. Number 8. Audi Q8 e-tron. Audi's big electric SUV is a beautifully built machine that the used market treats like week-old bread. This is a legacy luxury EV, and that specific combination, old line premium badge plus early electric technology, has lost more value than almost anything else on 4 wheels. The mechanism is worth understanding because it's not about quality, it's about obsolescence. Battery range and charging speed improve every model year, so a 3-year-old electric luxury SUV is measured against newer ones that simply do more, and buyers discount the older one hard for the difference. A gas engine from 3 years ago drives exactly like a gas engine today. A 3-year-old EV is last year's phone. That's the whole story of why these crater, and no amount of waxing changes it. The charging side makes it sharper still. The whole industry is shifting toward Tesla's charging plug as the standard, which means an older electric SUV built around the previous connector suddenly needs an adapter to use the newest, fastest chargers. A used buyer sees that and knocks the price down again, one more penalty the original owner never signed up for. On a machine that's stickered near $70,000, closing on half of that is gone by the time you'd have paid it off. $30-odd thousand that existed the day you drove out and didn't exist 3 years later. The fix is the oldest rule in the book, and it's never been truer than with electric luxury. Never buy this new. Let the first owner absorb the obsolescence and step in when the price finally reflects reality. Number 7. BMW iX. The iX is BMW's technology showcase, and showcases age fast. Everything that made it impressive on the showroom floor, the newest screens, the newest driver aids, the newest battery chemistry, is exactly what the next model year one-ups, and the used value pays the price for being first. A retired accountant brought me his 2-year-old iX, spotless, garage kept, and he'd just gotten an offer to sell it. He'd run the math himself, the way accountants do, and he was pale about it. The trade number was tens of thousands under what he'd paid, on a vehicle with barely 20,000 miles. He kept every receipt, changed nothing, babied it completely. None of it mattered, because depreciation on these isn't about condition. It's about a market that discounts last year's electric technology on site. He asked me what he did wrong. I told him the truth, nothing. He bought a brand new luxury EV, and that's the one financial move this market punishes hardest. If you love the iX, and plenty do, there's only one smart way in. 3 years old, someone else's depreciation, half the price, all the same luxury. The luxury EVs bleed from the badge. The next 3 bleed from something even harder to swallow. Number 6. Infiniti QX80. Here's where we leave the electric aisle, because losing your shirt isn't an EV-only problem. The QX80 is a big, thirsty, gas-powered luxury SUV, and it sheds value with the best of them. Proof that the villain here is the luxury price tag itself, not just the battery. The full-size luxury Infiniti leads its whole class for value lost, and the dollar figure is staggering because the starting price is so high. Over its first stretch of ownership, this SUV can hand back better than $50,000, more than $50,000, in pure depreciation, and it's already deep into that hole by year 3, closing hard on half. The hidden truth is what you're actually paying for up front. A luxury badge, a huge engine, and a long features list all cost enormous money new and mean almost nothing to a used buyer. The market pays for reliability and running costs, and a thirsty premium barge offers neither. Think about who pays that bill. Not the manufacturer, who already banked the sale. The original owner, who watched a house-sized down payment disappear into a vehicle that a used shopper won't touch without a steep discount. And the depreciation isn't even the whole wound. A used buyer looking at a QX80 is also staring down a big V8's appetite at the pump every mile for as long as they own it. That running cost gets baked into their offer. They lowball the purchase to make up for the fuel they know is coming, and your resale takes the hit for the engine's thirst on top of everything else. The move is the same as ever. Let the first owner take the $50,000 haircut and buy it after. Or better yet, ask whether you needed the premium barge at all when a simpler SUV would haul the same family for a fraction of the loss. Number 5. Mercedes EQS SUV. Mercedes built the EQS SUV to be the most luxurious electric experience money could buy, and money is exactly what it consumes. This is the luxury EV curse in its purest, most expensive form. Every penalty on this list, stacked into one very heavy vehicle. The reported numbers are hard to believe until you see them in a trade offer. This class of top-tier electric Mercedes gives back well over half its value in 3 years, not closing on half, past it, which on a 6-figure sticker means the depreciation alone costs more than most people's entire car. I want you to sit with that. The amount of money that leaves this vehicle in 36 months would buy a brand new, reliable, paid-off SUV outright with cash left over. That's the reframe this whole channel is built on. They sold your generation the idea that the expensive, complicated, cutting-edge machine was the smart one, and the simple, paid-off SUV in your driveway was behind the times. The trade sheets say the opposite in ink. Quick word while the numbers are stinging. If this is opening your eyes before you sign something you'd regret, hit subscribe. It's free, and it keeps the dealer's homework landing on your side of the desk. Because the next 2 are the ones that don't just bleed, they pour. Number 4, Jaguar I-Pace. The I-Pace was Jaguar's electric halo car, and it's become the poster child for how fast an EV can fall. Over roughly 4 years, these lose around two-thirds of their entire value. One of the steepest documented slides of any vehicle you can name, and it's already well past the halfway mark by year 3. Put it head-to-head with the thing your audience actually trusts. A simple, paid-off gas SUV over the same years gives back a manageable slice and keeps serving you. The I-Pace hands back the majority of a luxury sticker and leaves the second owner nervous about an out-of-warranty battery. That battery fear is the mechanism, and it's rational. A used EV buyer knows the most expensive part of the car is aging, the warranty clock is running, and a replacement pack is a fortune. So they discount the whole car to protect themselves, and that discount is your lost value. Here's the flip side, and it's a genuine opportunity. That same fear means a used I-Pace is one of the cheapest ways into a luxury EV on the planet. If you want one, buy it used, with warranty life left, and let the first owner's two-thirds loss become your bargain. New, it's a cautionary tale. Used, it's almost a steal. That's how far this one falls. Number 3, Range Rover. The Range Rover is the SUV that announces you've arrived, and financially, it's the one that quietly cleans you out. This is the luxury flagship in full, huge sticker, huge presence, and a resale slide to match. Over 5 years, these give back better than 60% of their value, nearly $70,000 gone, and they're already closing on half of that by the 3-year point. An airline pilot, freshly retired, told me he'd finally bought the Range Rover he'd wanted his whole career. 3 years later, he needed something more reliable and went to sell it. The offer took the wind out of him. The depreciation had cost him more than the reliable SUV he was about to replace it with, from scratch. He said the truck had been in the shop more than his driveway, and now it was punishing him twice, once in repairs, once in resale. He didn't do anything wrong. He bought the dream the marketing sold, and the marketing never mentions the trade-in sheet. Those two costs feed each other, and that's the part worth understanding. A reputation for expensive repairs is exactly what makes used buyers wary, and wary buyers pay less. So the same reliability worries that empty your wallet while you own it also crater what you get back when you sell it. The repair bills and the resale loss aren't two separate problems. They're the same problem, charging you from both ends. The move here is simple and a little painful. Admire it. Don't finance it new. And if the reliability stories in the owner forums don't scare you off, buy it used at 3 years, when someone else has already absorbed the worst of the fall. 2 SUVs left. Both of them bleed harder than anything you've seen so far. Number 2, Maserati Levante. If the Range Rover cleans you out quietly, the Maserati Levante does it with the lights on and the music playing. This is the most extreme, pure 3-year number on the entire list. Reporting on the Levante puts its 3-year depreciation at around 70%, 70, with owners losing well over $100,000 in that window. That's not close to half. That's most of the car gone in the time it takes to pay off a modest mortgage refinance. Break down what drives a number that violent. A very high starting price, real reliability concerns, an aging platform, and a tiny pool of buyers who will consider one used. Stack those together, and the market discount becomes a cliff. The hidden truth is that an exotic badge is the worst possible thing to buy new if you care about your money. The very rarity that makes it feel special is what strangles its resale. Few buyers, deep discounts, and a depreciation rate that would be comedy if it weren't someone's hard-earned money. I'm not going to pretend a Levante is a sensible used buy either. The repair bills see to that. This one's a simpler lesson. It's the clearest proof on the list that price and prestige have nothing to do with value, and everything to do with how much you stand to lose. Over $100,000 in 3 years. Remember that the next time a badge is supposed to impress you. Number 1. Tesla Model X. Here it is, the SUV on the thumbnail, and the one that turns a bad resale story into a genuine freefall. The Model X already held an unwanted title. Independent analysis of hundreds of thousands of used sales named it the worst depreciating midsize SUV on the market, the one model in its class to shed more than 60% over 5 years. And it's already deep into that hole, closing hard on half by year 3. Then it got worse in a way almost nothing else on this list did. In early 2026, the Model X was discontinued, and when a manufacturer kills a model, every remaining example inherits a question mark. Parts, support, and future value all wobble at once, and the resale slide accelerates. Add the thing that dragged it down all along. Tesla cut the price of its new vehicles again and again over the years, and every cut reached back and pulled down the value of every used one already out there. Owners who paid a peak price watched their cars lose value, not because anything failed, but because the maker undercut them from the factory. Picture the person this hurts most. Someone who stretched to buy the impressive electric SUV, kept it perfectly, and now finds it's worth a fraction of the loan they signed. through no fault of their own, punished by a discontinued badge and a company that kept slashing prices underneath them. That's the whole point of this list, standing in one driveway. The flashy, complicated, expensive machine was never the smart money. It was the trap. 10 SUVs, one pattern underneath every single one. The more a vehicle leaned on luxury, complexity, or being the newest electric thing, the harder it bled. And the bill for that always landed on the owner, never the maker who booked the sale. Now look at what you've got. If there's a simple, paid-off SUV in your driveway that starts every morning and asks for nothing but oil and tires, you didn't miss out on anything. You dodged all 10 of these. Here's my challenge before you ever sign for a new one. Ask the salesman for the 3-year resale estimate in writing. Watch him change the subject. That silence is the whole video. And if you want the other half of this, the SUVs that actually hold their value and run to 300,000 miles, I made that list too. It's the one you should watch next, right there on your screen. I'll see you there.